Welcome to Web3 and Me, presented by FLOLiO. I am your host, Jeremy Weber, and I am joined, as always, by my man over in the Netherlands, Dan van der Laak. Dan,
Hello,
how's
hello.
life over in your neck of the woods today?
My neck of the woods, good, good. I got Formula One coming up this weekend, but it's in Australia, so it's 7 a.m. in the morning for me when it starts.
So
Uh,
that's what it's normally like for me, but this
oh
weekend, it's
yeah.
like 11 p.m. Saturday night, the race. And I'm just like,
Ooh,
my old ass, I got a baby. I'm in bed way before then, or I try
yeah,
to be. And so I'll probably wake up. It'll work out well because I'll wake up nice and early. I'll make a cup of coffee and start the race on recording and kind of go from there.
yeah. I'll be dead asleep at 7 a.m. I am asleep.
See, that's my best part of the day. Like I'm up with the kid, I'm hanging out, so it kind of would be a good reversal because you would be the one up at 11 p.m. watching it, not me.
True, true.
All right, so let's jump into it for today, Dan. What have you been up to in the last week as far as NFTs go?
Yeah, so I bought a house module. I think it's called 2.0 or like zero point 0.2. It's like one of the middle rarities from house. Because they posted a really long, I don't know, wouldn't really call it a white paper, but more like their vision and like what they're aiming for. And it was like 25 pages long, and I was like, I got it, I gotta buy I gotta buy one. So I raced to the market just to pick one up, and OpenSea was down, ironically. So uh, it was a little bit of
That's
a,
new.
yeah, right. It was a little bit of a traffic jam to pick one up, and interestingly enough, it was like an insane volume, and I saw so many pieces being bought and then instantly relisted for like a lower price, and I was like, huh, this is interesting. Like you would see someone buy one for like 1.6 Ethereum and then relist it for 1.4. Like,
Okay.
okay, like I guess that's the way
Hmm.
to flip NFTs, like buy high, sell low. But
Yeah.
so yeah, other than
That's-
that, I bought a Aku chapter last week, and then the snapshot was either yesterday or 2 days ago, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was yesterday. And it was good to see, the prices on those definitely went up. And
Yeah,
we've talked about Aku many, many times, but different numbers of the Akutars based on how many chapters you had. And
yeah,
I was keeping an eye on the floor afterwards because to me, this is not like a quick flip project. Some
yeah.
people bought them, got the snapshot took place, and then
Listed
immediately
again.
sold. Which, for future reference, not only is that a bad idea from a just profit standpoint, but be really careful if you're holding something for a snapshot because if the snapshot goes wrong, you're gonna have to jump through some hoops to prove that right. Like, thankfully, you'd have like the Ether scan, you know,
Yeah.
transaction hashes and everything, but still, like, be smart about that. Maybe wait until you get the mint pass before you start trying to unload stuff. But the floor is held up well there. To me, Aku is a long-term project that you just kind of sit on and maybe we wait a few years and hopefully good things have happened because I'm feeling pretty positive about it. So for me this week, I mentioned the other day I sold one of my last remaining cool pet. I know they had like an announcement today about like some of the beta, but I'm not really sweating that too much. And
Hmm.
then I also had a crypto Mori that sold. Um, had picked that up, wasn't really feeling it too much, and decided I wanted to put that money elsewhere. So I went ahead and I guess all week you could have been buying the dip, but I bought more APECoin, which segues nicely into today's conversation. So before we get into it, everything that we talk about today around ApeCoin and all things NFTs is not financial advice. We're just kind of breaking down and learning more about the ApeCoin staking process and everything that goes into that. So we're going to bring on our guest for today's show. He's been on before, RDM41. You'll know him from Twitter. Ryan, how we doing today?
Hey, good, Jeremy. How are you guys?
Doing
Doing
good.
great.
Good.
Last time we had you on was a few months back. It was before ApeCoin launched. I want to
Yeah.
get your, if we think back, NFT time, it feels like ApeCoin dropped a month or 4 months ago, but it's only been like 3 weeks. So,
Right.
what were your initial thoughts on the ApeCoin distribution? How that broke down, as well as the price action of it so far.
Yeah, I mean, I was happy with the distribution. I think I was probably happiest with the color scheme. Blue is actually my favorite color. You guys can see in the
Okay.
Me too.
background. There's some blue curtains here. My neon sign over here is blue. Behind my computer's blue. So I actually was like super jacked when I saw the color scheme and the design and everything. got me really pumped about it. But yeah, I mean, overall, I was really happy with how the whole process went. It was really smooth. The probably the most unhappy part, which I think probably everyone felt this way, based on how the votes all kind of fell down after those first APE proposals, was just the fact that they kind of had everything. It seemed like already teed up and ready to go. Without a lot of discussion. They were like, here, just vote on this stuff, just take the free money that we're giving you, and everyone be happy about it. And so that was probably the part that I was the least happy about. I was just kind of like, oh, well, you know, I know they said like a DAO with training wheels and all this kind of crap, but like it wasn't even a DAO with training wheels. It was a DAO in name only. And so that's why I was kind of unhappy with it. And that's why I was kind of ultimately against it, was like out of principle. I think generally they had probably a good proposal, but like out of just the principle of like, you're calling this a DAO and you're not really giving us any power or authority. Because if you read the rules, which I did and been really deep into all this, there's many ways that this is like kind of more centralized, in the fact that like even before you post an AIP idea, you can be shot down. Or like they have to vet after your AIP idea goes through, you can be shot down or whatever. And I'll drop a link to you guys on, I wrote out essentially the entire process with TLDRs behind each step of how to get an idea to a proposal to a vote. Because I think that's super important for this DAO to be successful, is we all have to know how to get things to a vote by the community. And it can't be hard, it can't be convoluted, it can't be a bunch of paperwork, and it can't be exclusive to only a certain amount of people. So, but overall, just overall on APECoin, I'm thrilled with it. I'm super happy with it. I'm a trader, so my APECoin bags are small right now. I traded out at the top, probably buy back in under $10, which is, it looks like where it's going to glide down to, but it found a lot of support in that range. So I don't know if I can get in under 10 or not again, but I think I sold some at like 16, I believe. I just have to go back and look at the records. Like I did pretty good, kind of the same way I timed looks previously. So, but I'll be back in before we do a vote or anything. And the more utility that the coin brings, the more I'll be interested in actually holding it, rather than just holding a no utility token right now.
Yeah, I sold some at 15, and then I bought back in when it went down a little bit, just because I want to have my bags full, and I'm not really sweating. I'm not too active of a trader, just because I know my strengths and my weaknesses, and in like I would get my ass kicked if I tried like day trading stuff. So I just completely ignore that. And you know, I was doing some research last night and the last few days, you know, just looking at some threads on Twitter, and I have to say, you have a lot of nerve for doing what you want with your money, Ryan, based on some of the response. Wow, that sure was something. Like seeing it blows my mind when I see people who like, this guy doesn't care about APECoin because he sold some of his.
That's right.
I'm like, who the hell are you to tell someone what they can do with their money? Like, that's absolutely wild. But that's neither here nor there. I will say, for the purpose of our conversation, I am not an expert on a DAO by any means. Like, I've been involved in some DeFi staking, so I have a little bit of understanding there. But when it comes to proposals for DAOs, no experience whatsoever. So I'm kind of just taking this from my vantage point. And I will say, your early point that it didn't seem, you know, super decentralized, like that was one of my first things too, was like, I thought it was really weird that there were 5 proposals up on the APECoin website when it went live. Like that seemed a little well,
and not to mention like the authors too, like the author of the proposal to do the whole paying the mods and everything, which I don't know if you guys are aware, like the mods and all that stuff, all the like legal and the formation and who's kind of running the DAO, so to speak, is a company called the Cartan Group, which I looked them up. But the AIP to pay them and to make them the mods was written by them. Literally their employees, and we all just approved it, and it's probably a good thing. Like, I generally probably agree that we need somebody in the Cayman Islands, you know, kind of running this to actually be able to pseudo call it a DAO or whatever. But yeah, it was, I don't know, it was really interesting. So
and I found, you know, the initial staking proposal being written up by Animoca, and the timeline of it all being like, you know, them saying it would take 16 to 20 weeks, which is really close to when a lot of their, you know, from what I understood, a lot of their coins became, you know, unlocked. That seemed a little bit suspect. Also, the cost of it, you know, I'm not an expert on this, but $500,000 being put in to build out the staking website seemed a bit excessive. And then I've seen some of the recent proposals where other people are like, oh no, we can get this done in 3 to 4 weeks and have it cost $30,000. I'm like,
Yeah.
That was a huge disconnect. Like, what can someone explain to me why one proposal had it so incredibly expensive and the other one is like, no, this can be done for much less money.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. The whole process, the whole thing just kind of smelt weird, felt weird. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of any of it. So it just felt wrong. It didn't feel like a community thing. And so like that ultimately inspired me to do what I'm doing, which again, I think I've been pretty open and with everyone about it. And just been like, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to basically take community feedback and, do this, do that, all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's kind of what I want to do. I want to put a community proposal for it.
Yeah. And so just real quick, just in regards to the DAO in general, should we be happy with 14 to 15 million APECoin votes? Do you think that's a sufficient number?
I'm not sure how many total votes are available right now. Ryan, do you know how many total votes there are for the DAO at the moment with what has been distributed from the initial drop?
So every token, as the way I understand it, is a vote. And so the circulating supply would be the number of available votes. And so I've seen the circulating supply, I think at 277 million or something like that.
Okay.
Something like that, because I think we got a billion total, and so I think 25% roughly of the supply is unlocked. So there should definitely be like a bunch more votes out there. I don't know in what hands those are. Those could be in the founders. Like I know like Animoco, which I was happy with, said like they were going to abstain from voting on their own proposal. That's fair. You shouldn't vote for yourself.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Paid,
we should give him credit for that.
Yeah, for sure. So there's some like different things out there about that, but like overall, I mean, I was glad that everyone kind of like, I think immediately everyone was like, "Ooh, yay, free money!" And then everyone started reading. I actually didn't cast a single vote until I felt comfortable, and by the time I felt comfortable, I was leaning no. And so I think everyone should like remember that like your votes are super important; they matter. Like we need to get this thing right. And then I've said this too, like the thing is about DAOs, a lot of them are going to fail and a lot of them do fail for one main reason, and it's just a lack of interest and engagement. And so some other ones that I'm involved in, basically they get like often less than 1% of the supply ends up voting on a proposal, and like a yes or a no kind of simple stuff too. So like we have a huge financial incentive and we have a lot of care in this community. Those are the two things that you need to make this DAO successful. And so that's what we got to continue to drive and continue to keep that. I don't want this to be just like some sort of Web3 money printer. I want to actually build something for the community that benefits the whole ecosystem. I really want to see a cool play to earn game because I'm just sitting at home now. So it'd be cool to play some video games and make a little bit of money. But I want to see this thing like succeed and not just be a thing where we just get shilled on by VCs and stuff like that.
So outside of the proposals already being on the site, when you read through them, why do you think they failed? Like besides just that first part, like what in the actual context of the proposal led to it failing?
Yeah, I think the main thing that people got upset about was the fact that you could buy a single NFT and stake a unlimited amount of tokens towards it, so you could just wreck the whole pool. And so like there were fundamental reasons I think people voted against it, and then I think there were just a few structural reasons. And then obviously Yatsu came back and said, okay, well we'll do an amendment if this vote passes. That's not how you should do it. Like you should just like let this thing die. Yatsu would have been better to be like, okay, you know what, I'm with you guys, I'm voting against this thing too. We're stupid, we didn't think this thing through very well, whatever. Like he should have like fallen on the sword and been like, you're right, let's put it in the proposal. I will right now submit an AIP idea, which wasn't even available for us to do until like a week ago, which is super frustrating too. But he should have been like, I'm just basically going to copy pasta exactly what we did last time, add the cap and repropose it, and we'll see if you guys like that. But he didn't. I heard somebody the other day, I was on the spaces with Maki, and I heard somebody say that they talked to Yatsu. in person at, I don't know, Bitcoin Miami or somewhere very recently about the whole thing. And he was like, he was like super positive. He was like, the fact that the DAO voted it down is a good thing. It means everyone cares a lot and all this stuff. And then other people were like, well, he was probably just like trying to be nice or whatever. Like he has to have taken some offense to the fact that his proposal got shot down that hard, because he was like fighting for it there for a while, and then he just kind of went quiet because he knew it was going to die. But I don't know. So it was weird. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things I think that kind of went into it. And I think he kind of realized, and I think everyone kind of has at this point, that like, if it doesn't come from the community, then it's probably not going to pass. And so we want our voices heard. And I think that's the way a lot of people feel.
For sure. I'm looking at the amendment, and he put out a Medium article about, some of the amendments. And one thing that I haven't seen really talked about too much, but I think could be confusing, and especially because there are a lot of people that are part of BAYC that haven't done a lot of staking in the past, is the whole process of like staking and unstaking your NFT and the coins that are attached to it. So I also think that that's something that needs a little bit of clarity as far as like, if you don't unstake before you sell, then the person who buys it has the rights to unstake those coins. And I think that there's a little bit, of confusion there that could also be addressed and could, really help avoid some friction in the future around that. I don't know if you look too much into that portion of it.
Yeah, agreed. And I think for me, I understood it well, but I think there's one thing I think we need is essentially at the top of every AIP, a TLDR, a simplistic breakdown of what's going on with the AIP, even including graphics, that help, like infographics and stuff like that help explain to people kind of how it works. So for me, I totally understood the mechanism of the NFT being a key to access your tokens that are in the pool, and your tokens being associated to that NFT. And if your NFT sold, your tokens would go with it. I'd like, that all made total sense to me. But like, if I were trying to explain that to someone who doesn't understand, or who just like kind of base level understands even crypto, for example, like that wouldn't be something that would just instantly make sense to them. I've understood this stuff for a long time, been in a lot of different DeFi stuff. So I feel like I have more than an average level of understanding. So I don't feel like it was easy, though, for just maybe an average level or a more simplistic understanding for a lot of people. Because even on a lot of things that we're talking about now with changing the proposals, like people are like, okay, hold on. Like, start over. Like, I don't get it. Like, give me the simple version. I want to be able to grasp this. Like, tell me in some sort of way that makes a lot more sense to me than what you guys are saying, because these words don't make sense, and this mechanism doesn't make sense, and all that kind of stuff. So I 1000% agree. Like, if we could have something that was just more simple, and I think that's what everyone's kind of like trying to go for, right? That's what Maki said. That's what Jimmy said. Like, everyone's keeps saying the same thing. So I think we're going to land on something good.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that part, because like I looked over AAP for the staking process, and it's like a legal document of like 3 pages long, and it's quite hard to consume. Like, you have to really sit there like for half an hour, really read word for word to really understand what's happening.
Yeah, you definitely do. The other thing I would say that it was kind of surprising to me, and I kind of tweeted this out, and I don't think it got just a ton of engagement, because I don't know if people felt like negatively or positively about it or something, but and I'll say this, and I've said this to people before, like, I'm not saying I'm the smartest person in the room, but I'm pretty good at like the English language and like grammar and structure and stuff. It really looked like the proposal was written like on the notes section of an iPhone. The formatting was really bad. The English and the structure and the sentence flow were really broken, and like it just really didn't come across like professional. And when you're talking about a company that we would all agree is valued somewhere in the 5 to 10 billion range, we shouldn't have that now. Like, we should get a decent level of writing skill to be able to put this forward for us. So yeah, those are my like main concerns and things that made me feel weird about it.
Okay. Yeah. So have you read over the current proposal from Lumberg and Machi Big Brother?
Yeah, I've read over theirs. I've been working on mine as well. I have some interesting thoughts, but I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts, so I don't like jade your opinions, because I'd love to get some other opinions on what people think about
it. Dan, have you read through that at all?
I haven't. No, I'm fairly disconnected from the community, as I'm not a ape or APECoin holder, but I'm looking to buy some APECoin in the near future, just to be just to have some bags in that regard for the land sale. Is it confirmed, by the way, that the land sale is going to be exclusively APECoin, or is it not sure yet?
Not confirmed.
Not confirmed.
A lot of differing opinions.
Yeah.
Some people say exclusive APECoin, some people say exclusive ETH, and some people say a mix. So we'll see.
I think my favorite one that I've seen is a mix, but if you get a discount if you use an APECoin, and that's only my favorite because that would benefit me personally.
Sure.
You know, I think that there's a good chance that it's an APECoin. If you look at the fact that Sandbox Land was bought in Sand and Animoca worked on that, Animoca's working on this. You know, on the trailer video for Otherside, it says powered by APECoin. I feel like that's a pretty good indication that APECoin is going to have something to do with it. You know, I've seen the argument that why would Yuga accept APECoin? That's going to lock up so much of the supply, and I understand that part of it too. So, yeah, I'm interested to see how that goes. So back to, you know, the discussion around like Lumberg and Makchi's proposal. The first thing that jumped out to me, and they already addressed it, was like some of the issues, you know, in this proposal, Dan, they have like, there's going to be a weekly snapshot for your distribution. And, you know, some of the ratios from what I understood are based on like a 13-week rolling average of like the price. So like, you know, when the snapshot was taken for APECoin distribution, we came to this 5-to-1 ratio of, you know, ape to mutant based on previous prices. And so that's essentially what they would use for the weekly coin distribution, would be just a 13-week rolling average. And it definitely could lead to some issues with bots and people, you know, timing the selling and buying of it based on when the snapshot would take place. So they addressed that in like a Twitter thread and on the APECoin website. So they have it up in the discussion section, which I think is good. But, you know, to me, that was one of the more confusing things. And I think that it goes away from what the community had been saying around like, hey, the original API or AIP was good if we can just put a cap on everything, if we can just cap how much APECoin. So I think that they're now trying to get a little fancier with it than needs to be done. They obviously put a lot of thought into it, but I think that, you know, for me personally, it's trying to be a little bit too technical, whereas, you know, everyone just had that same belief, like, let's just put a cap on the coin amount and then just move on with our lives.
The coin amount per staked ape, right? Or NFT in general?
Yeah, so they put in theirs, they put a cap on it of the amount that you were airdropped is how much you could stake. And they use the same amount of token that is going to be distributed. You know, it's a 3-year proposal. That was the original proposal. That's what their proposal is. And it was, you know, the same amount of tokens per year, but with that cap on it of how much you could stake. So, you know, that was just my thing, was like, we don't need to get too fancy with the snapshot timing and all of that. So, you know, now that I've said my piece, Ryan, I'm curious what you have to say about it and how your proposal is going to be different.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think probably the most interesting thing to me about it was that it was like a totally different mechanism than the other proposal. It came across as like, okay, well, it's going to be simplistic, but it's really pretty different. Essentially what it does is, in my opinion, and I gave this feedback to Maki on my spaces the other day, I think it creates this like basically hold the cow, sell the milk mentality, which I think is going to create constant pressure on APECoin price. So essentially the NFT, you know, sits in your wallet, but you can claim your APECoin from the website, you know, once a week or however often, random snapshot or whatever they're going to do. But it's just the APECoin is generating the ape. And so I don't think it really helps to like create this like hold'em mentality of ape. Doesn't reduce any supply off the market. Everything stays super liquid. Whereas in our proposal, hypothetically, let's call it 10,000 per ape. You put that in the staking contract and it gets a 10,001 ape. Well, you can pull that one ape extra off or you can leave it. But the only way to get to 10,001 is to have put 10,000 in and let it grow to 10,001. And then when it gets to 10,002 and 10,003. And so you've got that 10,000 locked. But guess what? You don't want to pull that 3 extra ape off either. Because the only way to get to 10,003 is to have put it in at 10,000 and let it grow to 10,003. And so Then you have a locked up supply versus you have a very liquid supply. And yes, obviously people can just go unstake, but the penalty to unstaking is you fall behind in the race to garner a bigger percentage of the APECoin pool. There is a real financial incentive not to unstake versus there's really no kind of financial incentive at all to hold any more APECoin than what your ape can use to generate, because all the difference gets swept over in their proposal to the APECoin pool, which in my mind, mark my words, it's going to generate less than 5% return. And so because when all those VC coins unlock, they're gonna drop all their money in that if they're gonna hold on to those coins, if they're gonna hold them at all. And so when the supply just starts growing rapidly, that ApeCoin pool is not going to generate a good yield. So it's not going to be worth keeping your money in. So that's my big difference in the proposals. I think mine or the original proposal plus caps, and I call it mine, but like I put on the document very clearly, I'm the facilitator of this proposal. I'm taking community feedback. I don't want to like put my name on it and say this is my proposal. I don't even want to be called the author. I put the author as the community, facilitated by me. And so I want to be really clear about that because I want to take the feedback from the community. And the overwhelming feedback seems to have been, you know, I think, especially when I had my spaces, Captain Tree was talking to me and he was saying, you know, if we just had the original proposal plus the cap, I think everyone would have been fine and comfortable. Also, it helps to be coming from the community, not from them. And they probably put a lot of thought and legal money into making sure that we were kind of legally compliant. And so maybe we should just go with that. That seems to be the best thing. Cut the time frame to implement and let's get it out there and go with that. And so that's the way we've been kind of leaning. But like I said, the community proposal that we're trying to put forth is super simplistic and I think encourages holding and diamond handing your ape versus just using the ape as a cow that makes some milk and you sell the milk and you keep the cow, which is what I think the other proposal does. But
did real quick, what was their response when you brought that concern up to them? I'm curious.
You know, nothing really cognizant or coherent. I don't know. I don't want to slander anyone, but you know, there's just not a lot of, I don't think there's a lot of great tokenomic people behind any of these proposals. Not myself, not the community here. A lot of the people who came into the Bored Ape Yacht Club community came from Top Shots. I don't think we have any great economic geniuses over here. So they couldn't really rebut it in such a way that like made any sense and it was just kind of like, well, no, it doesn't create that. Like, you know, people are still going to want to hold ape and stuff like that. But I 100% do not see that. Like if all I have to have is 10,000 ape, look, if their proposal passes, I'll tell you exactly what I'm going to do. I'm a trader. I'm a profit maximalist. So I will buy 10,000 ape. I will stake it to my ape. I'll buy 2,000 ape. I'll stake it to my mutant. And every week when I claim, I'm going to sell the ape because there's no point. I don't want it sitting there in an ape pool earning 2%. I can go earn 200% on looks. I can go earn 180% on JPEG. I can go earn, hell, there's
shit. You can go earn 18% on USDC over on Anchor Protocol.
That's right. Yeah, I can go earn 15% on ETH. I saw a really interesting article that I bookmarked and saved. I'm going to go back and read on how to essentially, I don't know if you guys have looked into like DeFi, like Legos and like compounding different mechanisms. Like one way would be basically take money, drop it into Alchemix, borrow it on a self-repaying loan, take that money, put it over somewhere else, do something else with it. I mean, you're just essentially like stacking all these dominoes of all these different things together. It's wild. And so
it sounds a little bit too complicated for my liking. All I do is flip JPEGs.
Sorry. I glazed over when we went past like cat and monkey pictures.
It's like, it's crazy. So there's crazy stuff you can do, but either way, like I don't want to earn 2%, right? So, so I want to encourage people to hold ape and then I also want to bring a lot of really good utility. So I think we're talking about the staking. I'd love to get into some of the other AIPs that I'm working on with other companies and just like kind of preview those with you guys here on the show if you're interested in talking about that.
Would love that. I think that's a good place, you know, Dan, do you have any more questions around APECoin staking? I know you said you might pick some up here in a little bit. Anything else that you would want to know before you decide to make that jump?
Good question. Not unsure myself. I mean, most of my reasons are behind wanting to have at least something in my pocket, just in case the land sale for the other side is going to be in ApeCoin, because I think that people want that instant gratification, and there's so much movement in the market that isn't like taking into account future developments. So a lot of people trade in the moment, like it's kind of crazy. So I feel like when the land sale might happen, we suddenly see like a huge surge in movement, and suddenly they're like, oh, maybe I should pick up some ape for the sale, you know. So I kind of want to, so I kind of want to be, way ahead of that. So.
And I said this the other day, like I've had paralysis, like I'm just paralyzed as far as like stuff I want to, like I see NFTs I want to buy, but I'm like, I don't want to put my ETH into anything at the moment, because as soon as they make any sort of announcement around ape sale, like people are going to try to unload because they're going to want to move into that. So I've been, over the last few weeks, that's why I've sold other stuff, is to buy more APECoin if that's the case, or have more ETH liquid if they're going to go that route. So it's we're in this like weird period right now where things are kind of, I know for myself and many others, are at a bit of a standstill, because I don't want to be left with my pants around my ankles when they make an announcement, because I would like to get as much land as I can. I think it's going to be,
absolutely, if
we look at like sandbox land, that's going for like 2 ETH a pop. It was up in like the 3s or 4s, NFT worlds around like 10. I think that Yuga, the other side is going to be better than all those. So I think ApeCoin could run up to $20 in my opinion. Like if they do make that announcement, I wouldn't be shocked to see that kind of a price on it. I don't know if that's overly optimistic or what, but that's just my thought.
Yeah, so, no, I think you're right.
What are some of the other AIPs that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I've got an AIP going right now that I haven't talked a ton about, but it's in pending status. I'm going back and forth with the ApeCoin DAO mods right now on some technicalities of some wording. But essentially, it's going to restructure the board, the appointed board of 6 board members or 5 board members. I can't remember. I think it's 5. So 5. Essentially, what we'll do is we'll have a board member vote every quarter of the year, and 1 quarter we'll vote for 2 board member spots, so that we're not turning over the board every 6 months or every year all at once. Most, Fortune 500 companies don't do that. It's just not a good practice. Like, I don't know what they were thinking. Like, doesn't make any sense. So let's turn over 1 board seat every quarter. And then on top of that, it establishes like the schedule for doing that and all that kind of stuff. The response I got from the mods was like, this proposal totally makes sense. They're just checking on a technicality of some wording to ensure it doesn't conflict. And then I hope that everyone will vote for that and be on board with the reasons behind that. I think it makes a ton of sense. It also proposes to rename the board BORED members, not BOARD members. That was a total miss. Like, we totally should have been the board members. So that's the proposal. And then we've talked in one of my spaces about, and I don't know if someone else is taking this idea up or if I'm going to need to, but putting together essentially like an APE council of APE members to help translate what the board is doing to the community. And kind of just be a liaison, a little closer access to the board. But a lot of the community says, we don't want to see behind the curtain. So the board members need to see behind the curtain. We just kind of want to know everything's, like, somebody to just comfort us and let us know that, hey, everything's okay. And they are looking out for your best interests. And you just don't know it yet, but there's some really cool stuff coming, and just wording like that. So we've talked about something like that as well. I don't know if somebody's taken that up. And then probably the one I'm most excited about is well, actually there's 2, but one I'm most excited about is the marketplace one. So I'm working with a major NFT marketplace that wants to help build a marketplace for ApeCoin DAO. The high level idea would be that it's a marketplace for all Yuga assets paid in Ape, and the essentially the cut is given back to ApeCoin DAO on the.
I like that.
So I think that would torpedo some of these big marketplaces with the volume of transactions and everything else that, the Yuga ecosystem is doing. And it would also give the APECoin DAO a revenue generation mechanism, which would help fund staking and things like that long term as well.
Okay. So thinking about those, I like them. The one with the board, I like that because I respect every person that's on the APECoin DAO board. That being said, they're also incredibly busy people who are doing a lot of high level things. Like, how much time is Alexis Ohanian really able to dedicate to APECoin DAO? Like, that guy is
1,000%,
incredibly successful and incredibly busy.
Yep.
So, I think that there's something to be said there too for like having people who maybe it's not their full-time thing, but they can dedicate more time to it. I obviously don't know his schedule. Maybe he already is. Maybe he's putting 20, 30 hours a week into this, but I just have a hard time thinking that's the case.
I 1,000% agree. I don't think that's the case. I think he's a pretty busy guy. A lot of these people are. You're 1,000% right. And so, I think we need some people who are, a little closer to the community as well on the board. Like, I think I mean, I don't want to set anything in stone, and I thought about this a lot before I wrote it. I kind of wanted to be like, okay, well, at least X number of them need to hold an APE and have held an APE for X and all these different rules. And I was like, no, screw that. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, that's too complicated. Like, let's just, leave it how it is and let the community kind of decide who we put on the board. But I think there should be some sort of reasonable 2-3 mix. I don't know which way it leans, of like people who are business savvy, private equity, venture capital savvy, and people who are community really close to all of this, people who know what Frank is. People who know what goops are, like there needs to be some people who are in the JPEG community, right?
It's Frank's.
So,
Frank's.
Man, I saw them for 0.08 and I was like, this shit's dumb. Then they went to 1.5 and I was like, all right, this is nice.
And then for the final proposal, what are your thoughts on Yuga creating their own marketplace? Do you not think that that's something that's happening as well at the moment?
It's possible that Yuga is working on that. I saw it mentioned somewhere in one of the APECoin DAO AIPs, though, about setting structure up for a future marketplace. I'll have to go back and I'll tweet that out later. But I just need to reread it for myself and just make sure I fully understand what it was mentioning there. But it did mention the future of a marketplace. I think, though, like, for the APE ecosystem, right? Yuga's trying to stand this up. They wouldn't have DAO'd it and all that. They're trying to stand this up to be like the greatest thing they've ever created, and like a thing that just kind of functions on its own. And just like the creators of CryptoPunks Larva Labs, they're going to move on at some point. And APECoin and APECoin DAO and all that, and we'll have to sustain this ecosystem. I mean, obviously it's still a cash cow for them right now. They'll be here for that, all that kind of stuff. But at some point, I think they are going to want to do some sort of second project overall, just some sort of second ecosystem. And so there's a reason APECoin DAO is doing all this. And I think the marketplace probably best resides there, but we'll see.
Yeah. And that's something that they've already talked about. Like, I remember when the Mega Mutant, the trippy Mega Mutant happened that night, there was a big Twitter Spaces, and Garga was on there, and so was Nicole, the co-CEO, and they talked about the fact that, like, Yuga is going to be a lot more than BAYC, but BAYC is always going to be the center of that universe.
Yeah.
So, I just wonder if they create their own marketplace within APECoin, but also all their other projects in the future integrated as well, because, I think it makes sense for them to want to try to get way more people involved. And it's, mutants and apes are at an incredibly high price point. And so they're going to need lower barrier of entries. Like, I talked with Dan last week on our show, or maybe it was earlier this week. I think at some point you may see a Yuga NFT that is just a constant mint. Like, it's an unlimited mint where people can come in, mint it for 0.05 ETH or 10 APE or whatever the hell. And they own their own NFT that is attached to Yuga. And I think that that's not a crazy idea, because they need to make something that everyone can feel attached to. And you can't really feel attached to APECoin. It's the same reason why NFTs took off in the first place. Is like, a fungible token is not, besides the crazy people with Doge and Shiba Inu and all that stuff,
right?
Most people aren't quite as fired up about a fungible token. So I think that is where we're going to leave the APECoin discussion for today. And if you got time to stick around, we're going to jump into our market recap for the week. And
yeah, absolutely.
You had mentioned, you already brought up the first piece on our agenda today, which is in fact Frank. So Dan, he's just taking the internet by storm.
Yeah, I in our notes I have Frank, and then my first comment on it is oh god.
Oh god.
It's oh god. Yeah. So what I said earlier, I saw them pre-reveal, and my friend sent them to me.
Yeah.
And I know the meme, right? Because it's like an emote on Discord. Yeah, it's used like quite often. And their whole Discord is Frank, and it's like code language or something. They have like a bot that can translate the Franks into like coherent sentences, and it's pretty entertaining. And man, they went up to 1.5 when I woke up. Yeah, I think they're down to 0.6, but
I'm just gonna screen. I've been really diving into meme making because I got so much time on my hands. I got a kid, so obviously plenty of time. But I think I'm proud of myself for this one real quick that I'm just going to share with the community right here.
What have you done? I like it. Yep. Kevin's already gone and forgotten.
Kevin's gone by the wayside, and now it's Frank's world that we're living in.
That's pretty
so I personally I think the whole Frank thing is ridiculous, but that's this entire marketplace. I mean, so it went up to 1.5. Where is it hanging out now, Dan?
I believe it was like 0.6. I can take a quick look at it.
Okay.
It's currently sitting at 0.54. They went up and then went down at the same speed. But yeah, imagine buying 10 of those for, I don't know, what was mint, like 0.03 or something weird?
Okay.
Yeah, you can mint 10 of those,
That's
sell them
crazy.
sell them for like 15 ETH, Yeah, we live in a weird market nowadays. And the weird part is that this all happened in a relatively slow market. It's been I believe it's been kind of picking up the last few days, but when it was minting and when the price spiked, it was quite slow. So it's pretty interesting to see that.
Yeah, I mean, things went crazy last weekend with Azuki, and then it came back down a little bit. The next thing, I think part of that is what we're going to talk about next, which is the Vayner Sports Pass.
Oh, God.
So I don't know if either one of you were paying attention to this, but Tuesday was an absolute shit show with, about 20, I think Cross.eth tweeted out that about $25 million in gas and failed transaction fees because they went from doing a stealth mint, and like the day or two before, Gary kind of dropped hints that it'd be happening, and they didn't optimize their contract. And I think like $8 million was spent on the actual passes, but 3 times that on gas and failed transactions, which is just I know everyone loves Garyvee. I've been getting kind of turned off to all of this stuff with him and his brother because it just feels like they're trying to pull as much money out of the NFT market as quickly as possible. They've got VFriends. They had the buy 12 books, get the book games, which is absolutely ridiculous to ask people to buy 12 books to get an NFT, but whatever. They have Flyfish Club. They have VFriends Season 2. Now they have the Vayner Sports Pass. I mean, it's a little crazy at this point how many projects they've put out in 1 year.
Yeah, I don't own a single one of them for that reason right there.
Neither do I. Like, I don't, and the VCon tickets are going for like $5,000. No conference, I'm sorry, is going to be worth $5,000. Like, there's no way they can deliver value to all of these things. It's just not possible.
Right.
So
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I'm curious, Dan. Like, do you own any Garyvee related projects?
I don't. I'm gonna get a what's it called? VFriends mini drop, airdrop, because I staked in, I believe, AJ's team in Wolf Game. So I'm gonna be getting one of those, but it's just like a airdrop that's gonna happen for like 1,000 people. So it's probably gonna be worth like absolutely nothing. But yeah, the main crazy thing about this is that's $25 million that's leaving the scene. Like, it's into the ether, like it's gone, right? So.
Well, no, it's not gone. It's
to the miners, right?
The miners were really loving it on Tuesday. I mean, those guys they had a great day.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that I don't not like, it's that Garyvee used to be very like pumpy on Twitter, right? So alien friends like posting about it like 4 times a day, really like hyping it up, essentially like creating value out of thin air. And nowadays, I believe he stopped doing that as much as he used to, which is nice to see. Because like a few months ago, everything was like the whole like NFT price cycle was focused around what is Garyvee tweeting.
Yeah.
And it's glad to see that kind of stopped.
I think it reached its peak when like Crypto Skulls was going on, and like
God,
that whole controversy around that.
that's really that one was so nasty.
That was bad, and I think he kind of pulled back after that.
Yeah, because the team had like so many left, right? And they were just like offloading them like by the hundreds.
Yeah, and it seems shady to say the least. So it's and there's like 55,000 pieces in the VeeFriends like season 2, and so then my other question becomes, okay, they're doing season 2. Season 1 will always be the original. I get that they're going to drive value to season 1, but how are they going to drive value to season 2 when season 3 comes out, and to season 3 when season 4 comes out? Like, there's no way that in a decade, which Garyvee talks about, he looks at everything in at least a 5 to 10 year, if not longer time span.
Mm-hmm.
How is it in a decade that they're going to drive value to season 3 of VeeFriends? I just don't see it happening. Like, are they going to do VCon down, in Dallas where the Cowboys play, and have like everyone show up to Arlington and have to fit everyone in Cowboy Stadium? No, like it's a bit crazy, and I think people are going to get burned on it.
Well, didn't he already say like VCon was only running for 3 years anyway?
I did not hear that part.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like from the beginning I heard, I'll have to link you to it. I'm pretty sure there's only ever going to be like 3 VCons, like three annual conferences, and then like the NFTs themselves will be like, he said like these will be historical, and that's what'll hold their price up or something like whenever I heard all of that from the very beginning, I was like, oh, bad sales pitch, I'm out.
Yeah, I do remember hearing that like the VeeFriend that you own that gets you tickets to VCon would only be for 3 years, but I didn't realize that he was only doing the whole conference for 3 years.
I think so. I have to go look to research that to make sure, but I'm pretty sure, like, I remember it's like 3 years of a conference, and I was like, okay, well, 3 years of a conference, like, I mean, obviously, like, I missed out on short-term gains, but like, I don't think VeeFriends is going to maintain its floor price, in even a couple of years, because I like, my initial thought was like, okay, well, this could run up before the first one, and then maybe before the second one it pumps, but by the third one it's dumping. Like, all the utility's gone.
He's also said how, like, the different characters, he'd use it as, like, building the next Disney. And I was like, so there's this thing called under promise and over deliver, and you're going 180 degrees the other way.
Great point.
But I mean, it's great that you got ambition and you wanna make something fantastic, but that's a wild claim to be making. I don't know, Dan, what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure what that means. Like making like this is like the new Disney. Like I'm not even sure what that statement like entails. But in general, yeah, I think people can become attached to the characters because they got like a certain like low effort like appeal to them. But if you want to push that to the mainstream, it has to be more refined, right? And then I guess it really like gets rid of all the sentiment and all the appeal to it. And yeah, I don't really see it.
Yeah, me neither. I think sports NFTs are awesome. I don't know how they're going to deliver on this one. It's already off to a really bad start, and they were doing damage control from the jump, so not the best way to start off a project. Another one I want to talk about is Moonbirds. So this is a project from the Proof Collective. So I don't know if either of you know much about Proof Collective.
All I know is that isn't the floor like 90 ETH or something, and it's like an alpha club or something.
Yeah, it's like 90 ETH. There's only 1,000 of them. It has a very high, number of owners, and from what I understand, like Kevin Rose is one of the creators of it. He started Proof Collective. They got this like Grails drop where they could pick an NFT, and then after everyone picked, it was revealed who created it, and they had some really incredible artists and all that stuff, which is great. The news yesterday was that the Moonbirds are like pixelated kind of owl looking things, and initially it was going to be a Dutch auction starting at 2.5 ETH,
Wow.
I listened to an interview with them on Bankless, and they're talking about how, this was before they made this decision to cancel the Dutch auction and actually do a raffle. But they're still, on the show, they said that they believed that it was going to sell out at 2.5 ETH. And when they initially decided on a Dutch auction, they didn't think that was going to be the case, which I think is a little ridiculous. I mean, it was clear that these were going to sell out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But even with the raffle, they're keeping the price at 2.5 ETH. Initial thoughts on that?
Well, to enter the raffle, you need to have 2.5 ETH in your wallet, right? That's one of their requirements. And I'm not sure. I'm not even sure what the right solution for this is. So obviously, anything under 4 ETH or under 5 ETH might sell out instantly. And at that point, it's like, how do you even approach the Dutch auction, and then how do you even approach the raffle? It's just like suffering from success, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, Ryan, are you planning on going after? Did you enter the raffle for one of these? Being a profit maximalist, you're not going to go for it?
No, I'm afraid.
Okay. You're afraid?
I'm afraid this is all seems really scammy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see. Like, I'm just trying to do things that are I was working with a team last night on an app that they're building, really cool app, and they were talking about like different kind of traders, and there's like, your mentors, your momentum traders, all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm probably more of a momentum trader, like just like find the momentum somewhere in that like 1 ETH to 2 ETH range, or maybe just a little under 1 ETH. Find that momentum, do it there. You're a lot safer than trying to go for a 0.08 ETH and hoping it goes to 1 or 2 or 3 ETH. Like, just find something half an ETH to 1 ETH range, momentum trade that to a 2-3 ETH range with a lot of money or a decent amount of capital, and you're going to make a great return. You're going to 2 to 3x in a month or two.
Yeah, that's something that I've swapped to as well. I used to be like minting the most degen things for like 0.08. Like, I have a very like really cringe-worthy hot wallet. And
how's that hidden folder looking?
The hidden folder is quite ugly, I'll be honest. And I need to my non-hidden folder is looking quite bad as well. So I need to move more stuff to my hidden folder. But like over time, I think the market in general has kind of swapped to more established projects, more quote unquote blue chips, if you will, more long term. So I don't know, like there might be a good development in general, like more faith in the scene. But yeah, definitely, I wouldn't call myself a momentum trader, but I'm avoiding like minting for quite some time. At least.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think probably one of the most awesome trades I've ever seen really was watching Dingaling at 1 ETH just go ham on Bored Ape Yacht Club, and then again at like 3 ETH or whenever he did to pump it to like 5, and just like dumping money into it. But he had plenty of time to like watch it develop, like 2 months really of time. And so the app that I was talking about, I tweeted about it last night. I actually did a quick Twitter Spaces with them, just kind of private really, and we talked about it. But essentially it allows you to follow people's wallets. And I'm helping them, giving them advice on how they should do it and what they should build into the app and all that kind of stuff. But it'll allow better NFT trading really. You'll be able to follow people's wallets in a better way, compare how your list of influencers or the people that you appreciate or like or whatever, how they're trading, what projects they're holding, how many, essentially a grid format almost of, here's all the influencers, here's all the projects, there's an X in the box of who carries what, it's really cool. So highly recommend going to check those guys out. They're called apelike.com is what they're building right now. It's free right now. You can get in for the premium version. And I've given them some ideas and ways to monetize that. But yeah, like that's the big thing is just, I appreciated the crap out of Dingaling's moves to get in when he did. And that was the greatest momentum trade. And he's held all of that. And just,
that's the craziest part, right? That's the
crazy.
I cannot believe it.
He dropped like 500 ETH almost on 20 Azuki last week, and then I thought I saw that he bought like a super rare one for like 275 or so this week.
Do you think he's like secretly Elon Musk or something? Like,
I said secretly like Vitalik, but that.
Oh yeah,
I think it's just like Santa Claus at this point. Like,
I hope we never find out who he is. He's like the Kaiser Soze of the NFT world, and I
the Satoshi
totally
of the NFT
that.
world, right?
He really is. Yeah, for sure.
He's impressive.
And then the final part of the recap is just kind of looking at, on the back of Azuki, all of these anime projects that have gone nuts. So we've seen Everai, Akuma. Dan, talk to me about what happened with Oni this week. Because they've actually been getting some positive buzz on Twitter, which is new.
Yeah. I'm always like a little bit scarred by Oni. Part of it is I was able to trade up to a Bored Ape, selling my 2 Oni. Let's say I didn't, and it kind of hurts, but.
It's like running into an old girlfriend over and over again.
Yeah, and she got super hot, and now I'm like poor and ugly. But like Oni, there's so much like dumb stuff in the past. Like the owners basically like rocking the whole project. But now there's new people. I guess they have new founders. They have never introduced themselves to the community. So what do I know? But yeah, like Oni alongside Mechaverse. Went up from I say like 0.4 to 0.7 or something. Alongside like Everai and Akuma, they've been like pumping quite a bit. Like it's quite delayed behind Azuki, so I wonder like what really started that. I guess like maybe the trickle down, but it was like a good like 3-4 days after the initial pump. So
yeah, I mean Akuma looks cool. It's like the gorillas met Azuki. And are facing the other direction, but I mean, I think it looks pretty cool. Mecha is always gonna be a really interesting case study and something that we talk about for years to come. So, has anything else caught your eye this week, Ryan? Have you been keeping your eye besides the APECoin proposals? Like, what have you been looking at in the NFT market?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna pick up some arcade land, and I picked up some Goop last night because I was drinking some Remy Martin, and I listened to like a ridiculous amount of Daniel got hits and his Twitter Spaces, just like doing 60 minutes of. They literally got on Twitter Spaces, and every speaker was like, Goop, 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 goop. And I was like, what the freak is this?
I listened to a replay of that for like 10 seconds, and I was like, I cannot handle this right now.
It was like killing my brain cells. And so as I was drinking my Remy Martin, I was like, you know what? I'll just pick up some Goop. Why not? It's doubled in value since then. So
let's just lean into the weirdness and pick up some Goop, shall we?
I feel like why not? Like it's up to like half an ETH at this point. So I'm selling out at an ETH, but yeah, it's crazy weird.
Let's just keep pumping that ETH or that Goop until it gets to 1 ETH, and then boom, there you go.
I'm gone. Yeah, I'll roll that money right back in APECoin. So
there it is.
APECoin Maxi.
That's right.
I'm holding those bags, man. Please God, make an announcement. I wouldn't be shocked if we felt like they love making Friday afternoon announcements.
Absolutely.
It could be today, or it could be 2 weeks from today is the 1 year anniversary of the founders minting their apes, and so wouldn't surprise me if we heard. I tweeted that out too, like a picture of Charlie from Always Sunny, like the Pepe Sylvia stuff. Like I'm over here trying to like connect the dots between when they're gonna do the other side land drop, just like over here chain smoking a cigarette, trying to figure this shit out. But hey, in 2 weeks it could be. Yeah, I was like looking at the timestamps, like the ether scan. Okay, so when is the exact second that they minted this thing? And that's when we're gonna find out. No,
I'm gonna sweep back into APECoin before then for sure.
Front run that announcement right there.
Absolutely.
So, anything that you guys are looking forward to this weekend, as far as NFTs go?
Ryan?
No, nothing that I'm looking forward to this weekend as far as NFTs go. My weekend's going to be pretty fun, though. I'm going to go work on my land, and my buddy is having a Masters party at his house. His wife's going to make all the traditional Masters foods, and we're going to go over there and, chip around in his yard and goof off and let our kids play together and just hang out.
Nice.
So I'm gonna try to take it easy, stop looking at screens for the week.
Very important.
Probably later today.
It's very
Right
important to take some time off NFTs. Like,
absolutely, it's draining, isn't it?
It really is. It really is.
Dan, what about you?
Me, I'm looking forward to the Llamaverse marketplace opening. I believe they mentioned it was going to be Monday. His reasons, so they were aiming for today, but they wanted to do some additional changes and some more. And he has a meeting on Saturday to close some big deal or something that he would like to have live before the marketplace goes live. And yeah, I think that's I'm looking forward to it because I'm obviously like I have one and I'm staking one, and I think it's going to be like a huge test on the price. Like if the marketplace isn't like up to par, if people are disappointed by the rewards, I think that might the price might dump a lot. So I wonder because it's like the closest short-term reward. So yeah, I'm looking forward. Like very curious to see what's going to happen.
All right. Yeah. The one thing I'm going to do this weekend is I'm going to pick up at least one of the Drifter Shoots open edition. So for those who don't know, look up Where My Vans Go on your favorite marketplace. Follow Drifter. He does these absolutely insane
legend
pictures and photography NFTs, and we've talked about them before. My fear of heights is just when I see his daily videos of like the stuff he's climbing, I'm just like, this guy is insane. But he's doing his first day out. So this is the 1-year anniversary of him being released from prison. And he was originally arrested for trespassing, to do these photographs. It's going to be a 24-hour open edition mint. It's 0.2 ETH. So no need to rush and like fight a gas war to get it in like 5 or 10 minutes. And it's cool. 15% of the proceeds are going to veilproject.org. So he's trying to do a little bit of good with it as well. Go to his website. He has this really awesome like hype video for the drop tomorrow. So the website is firstdayout.driftershoots.com, and I'll put that in the comments as well. But I'm excited to own a piece of his because the Where My Vans Go floor is like 30 something Ethereum. He has an open edition already that's only has 200 something pieces. That's like a few ETH as well. So I think it'll be cool. I'm not planning on flipping this. I'm not planning on making a bunch of money off it. I think it's just gonna be a really cool piece to have in my collection. So
yeah.
And then I gotta do my taxes tomorrow. Finally, I'm done putting that off. So I gotta try to do that and see what kind of deductions I can scrounge up to not have to, pay my ass off this year.
Yeah. Well, if you want, you can sell me like an ape for like 1 ETH if you want, just to tax harvest a little bit.
Well, that would have. Yeah, Dan, I don't think I'm going to do do
okay,
but I appreciate the offer. Like that's
for
really
sure,
kind
anytime.
of you to throw that out there. So that's my weekend, and watch the F1 race on Sunday. We'll see if your boy Max can bring it home for the Netherlands. Dan.
I hope so.
All right, I think that will do it for today. Ryan, really appreciate you coming on, talking APECoin with us. It's always fun to have a new member of the community come on, join the show, and whenever you want to come back on, we're happy to have you.
Great, I appreciate it so much, guys. Enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Definitely.
For Dan, for the team at FLOLiO.com. Oh, I need to talk about real quick. The FLOLiO website is live. The portfolio management tools are live, and what I'm most excited for is our browser extension got an upgrade and is working incredibly smoothly on OpenSea. So I was playing around with it last night. It is really nice to have that browser extension on and be able to see rarity rankings directly on the page and not have to click back and forth between tabs.
Yeah.
So if you haven't gone to FLOLiO yet, checked out the website, downloaded the browser extension, which is free, by the way, and it's as good as other paid browser extensions, if not better, in my opinion. So for anyone watching live or the recording, head over to FLOLiO.com, sign up for an account. It's every tool on the site right now is free, and it will continue to be free. So check it out, see how your account valuation is looking. We got plenty more upgrades coming, but things are moving very smoothly, and our browser extension competes with the best of them. So check that out. For Dan, for Ryan, for the rest of the FLOLiO team, we hope you have a great weekend. This is Jeremy. We will talk to you next time, everybody.
All right. Bye bye.